maybe you think that we will configure each device, okay, and all time we are reflecting the configuration on the change management system. Yes, maybe this is possible in the smaller networks, but in large network, or maybe in the medium-sized network, okay, we have many switches and routers, and also we have multiple administrators with different knowledge, with different for example functions, okay, and also we have many tasks. Assume that in one day, okay, we are encountering one problem. Assume that one part of our company doesn't have connectivity to the resources, to the servers of our company. All of the administrators, or maybe some of the administrators, are trying to find the problem and solve the problem as soon as possible. In that time, okay, we cannot expect that every configuration and every change that now are occurring will reflect to the change management system. You will experience this effect in the real world, okay? Because of that, finally, okay, in the per device configuration, we will have configuration drift, and this is certainly happen. And if you don't think to the configuration drift, after some time of, for example, 1 year, 2 years, you will have multiple configuration in the multiple different configurations in multiple devices with the change management system latest update. Finally, and maybe after 2 years of working in this company, you can see that in change management system, all of the running config, all of the latest update are different, okay, with the configuration that we have in the switch. Again, you need to back up all of the configuration, but this is happening again after sometimes. Because of that, one of the facts, one of the challenges that we have when we are using the per device configuration, okay, is the configuration drift, and we should solve it. This is the first challenge. Let me to talk about the next challenge. The next challenge related to the centralized configuration files and also the version control. Let me to explain it. You know that in each company, okay, when we are using in one small company, we can configure each device, and after that we can go to the next device and the next device. This means that we are configuring, okay, in a smaller network with the policy of per device or on device configuration, okay, and after that we can save the configuration of the each device in the one centralized place, for example one centralized server, and after that all of the administrator has access to this centralized folder, and here we have the configuration file of the different routers, different switches, and it is a good practice, okay. Also in the large and also the medium enterprises, we have a centralized server for saving the backup of the configuration, okay. Until now everything is good, but you know that because of the configuration drift, we don't have the latest config file in the for example the server that we have the configuration text, and this means that now we have the configuration on the device on the real devices that does not available in the for example server contain the configuration files. And actually this means that when one of the administrators want to for example verify or want to analyze the configuration in one device, this from the, for example, the server contain the text files, their configuration files, this configuration is not equal with the configuration that now are running in the devices, okay. Because of that, in most cases we are using the version control. What is the version control? Look at here. The simplest method of the version control is that, for example, when you are saving the file in the running config in or the other configuration in this server, okay, you can use here one version. For example, this is the version 1 of the running config of the BR21 router, and this is again the version 1, and this is again is the version 1. When the configuration is updating, okay, for example BR21 now is changing about configuration, and after that we are copying the configuration, we are saving the configuration on the server now with the next version, with the version 2. Okay, this is the simplest form of the version control. Actually, in this type of version control, only we know that this is the version 2 of the for example, running config of this router, but this is not an efficient method about the version control. In modern systems of the version control, we have more for example, information about what is changed, okay, and or what are changed, who changed the configuration, and in which time, in for example, which date. Let me to give you one example. Assume that we have one interface. Let me to show you about the configuration of the router 21. We have this interface fast Ethernet 00, and after that we have one IP address on this interface, for example 192.168.1.1, okay, 255.255.255.0. Also, maybe you have some other configuration such as the description, okay, description, then this connected, for example, to ISP. That's it. This is our configuration of the interface fast Ethernet 00. Okay, and when you are copying this configuration on the server, contain the latest configuration. Okay, the version of this configuration is 1. Assume that this has the version 1. Okay, and after that, now you are changing this configuration to this. Look at here, IP address 192.168, for example, 2.1, and then description connected to the LAN. That's it. Okay, and now we don't have this the old configuration, we have only new configuration, and then you are replacing this configuration in the server containing the configuration file, and because of that, now we have this configuration and the version is 2. Okay, we know that the version of this configuration is higher than the version of before, and this is the latest configuration. It is okay, but you cannot see what is happened. Okay, you cannot see the process. Okay, because of that, in most modern and in most useful version controller systems, we are using some other things. For example, assume that this is the old configuration and now this is working, and again here we have the version 1. Okay, and after that, this is the version 1. You are changing this configuration. When you are changing this configuration, actually in the real device, okay, only the latest configuration is available. It is okay, but in the version control of the for example, version control in the server that we have the configuration files, maybe we encounter with this scenario. For example, first the version should be changed to the version 2. After that, here we can see the old configuration with the red color, and the new configuration. Assume that this is the new configuration 192.168.2.1, okay, connected to the ISP. Assume this is the old configuration and this is the new configuration. Okay, maybe you see this part of configuration with another color, for example green color. This means that now this is working, and because of that, you can see what is happened. This is the removed configuration, this is the added configuration. Okay, this means that with version control, this is one of the types of version control, we can easily see the process, the history, and we can use it for example troubleshooting, and also for understanding what is happened, what was happened in this network, for finding the reason of many of the features and problems and some other things. Because of that, when you are using a on device configuration, means per device configuration, because of the drift in configuration in the real devices and also in the configuration files that we have in the configuration management system, or for example in the system that we are saving the configurations, okay, we don't have the efficient usage of the version control, because in the devices we have some configuration, but this configuration doesn't reflect to the for example this server, okay, this centralized server, and because of that we don't have the good version control. But if you use the configuration management tools, I will show you, automatically all of the configuration will be reflected to this centralized configuration file server, and also the version control is available, and you can see all of the configuration that was for example occurred in the time. And this is so useful for one administrator for verifying the process, the history, and what is happened, when it was happened, and who changed the configuration. Maybe we have some description, some remark why we have we done this change, okay, we have done this change, and some other things. Because of that, when you are using the per device or manual on device configuration, actually we don't have the efficient usage of the centralized configuration file server, and also we don't have efficient usage of the version control. You know that all of these for example challenges are result of the higher number of the devices and the configuration drift that we will experience in the large or medium networks. In this figure, you can see the version control. Here we have one text file. As you can see, we have some red line and also some green line. The red lines was removed from the configuration, and the green line added to the configuration. If you want to experience the version control, you can use www.github.com.